Welcome aboard the Tabletop Express, everybody. We've got a special guest here tonight, but before we get to him, I'm going to say my name is Chris.
I'm Anthony.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Matthew.
This is my son Matthew. Hi, everyone.
But I'm going to first and foremost, it's awesome to have him here. And a big reason he's here is because our video tonight is about our top board games of 2024. We are talking about games published in 2024 tonight. It is also an episode of Call Aboard. Ryan, what is Call Aboard?
Call Aboard is our bi-monthly, every other week video where we invite you to call in with your favorite games.
Yeah.
And we have a big old list today. I'm going to pull up that big list right here. And we are celebrating, by the way, today. Matthew's on spring break, so he's staying a little bit later.
Buddy.
Yeah, to talk about one of the games on this list. And if you want to be like Matthew, you don't need to come into my office and hang out with me. You could, or you can if you want. But you can go to call-aboard.com to call in with your favorite game of last year. And if you're in the comments, let us know.
But then you can't sit on Ryan's lap and or stroke his beard, just so you know.
That's true.
That's very true.
I've been very tired too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but I can't wait to hear what his top game or one of his favorite games here for 2024 was. So I think we should get right to our first non-caller that we've ever had.
our live in studio caller.
Live in studio caller.
Matthew, what was your favorite game from last year?
Little Alchemist.
Little Alchemist. Let's bring that up. Designed by Matus Kotri. Look, I even included pictures of you, bud.
Yeah, buddy.
So there's a review copy from CGE, but I'm going to be honest. I would have bought it if they didn't give us a review copy because I love the original Alchemist game. And to hear there was a kids version of this, well, what do you think about the game? You tell us.
So, in the game, you make potions with ingredients.
Mm-hmm. And you have to use an app to do it, right?
Yeah.
And why are you making ingredients? What are you trying to do?
Make potions
Make
and
potions
sell them.
and sell them, right? So you can get money, and you can get all sorts of victory points. But what's really neat about this game too is every time there's different levels, right? And the game gets harder as you go on, and you kind of open it up as you go. So we're thinking legacy style.
And I beat my dad more.
And he beat me way more. So he's very proud of that, right?
He beat me only one time.
We tied once too. You beat Barrows too once, didn't you?
My only play. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my only play. That was a good time. I enjoyed it.
What was your favorite part about this game?
That I get to make potions.
Did you get to make potions? And you do that right from the beginning. And as the game goes on, you'll have different things that there'll be different ingredients that can come in. There's different kinds of potions that can come in. There's different things where you can bet on what potion will be coming out. So yeah, I absolutely adore this game because the designer, I believe I read it online somewhere that he designed this game so he could play Alchemist with his kids. So he made effectively a tutorial version of Alchemist, and it just turns out so well.
What's interesting too, by the way, when I played with you, you were farther along, so there was more challenging stuff in there, but you had unlocked a bunch of stuff. So I did like that unlock aspect where you were going through and opening. I don't know if they were boxes in the game.
You see the box has little slots for keys. They have little locks. So when you beat the game, when you're finished with the game, you'll count the score, but then collaboratively you'll see how many of the merchant tiles are left, and that's how many keys you add to the box. And when you add enough to the box, you unlock it. And there's 7 boxes in total. And how many do we unlock?
7.
We did. We unlocked all 7.
We gotta do more.
Right, because what happens when we unlock? So I guess slight spoilers, but don't worry. But eventually, there's nothing else to unlock. So the only thing that you can unlock is to play the actual game of Alchemist.
That's cool.
That is cool, right?
It really leads right in then. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, this game was awesome. I had such a great time with it. Oh, I see. A question for you, Matthew. Have you played Potion Explosion? No, you haven't played it yet. We'll play it though. I played that a long time ago. Back in the before times when my office had an office and wasn't work remotely. But, all right, you want to get going, bud?
Yeah, am I done?
Yeah, you're done. We'll be done. Thank you, Maddie, for calling in.
Friendly reminder, if you want to call in, you do not have to go sit on Brian's lap. You can just go to call-board.com and be part of a show. We certainly would love to hear what you have in your top games of 2024. Again, we're talking about games published in 2024 tonight, and would love to see what's on your list, and maybe it's on ours too, because we have all picked 10. I want to let you guys know this was interesting because I'm not going to go to this level ever again because it was a lot. But I played 124 games that were published in 2024 prior to making this list. There are some that stood out. There are some that did not stand out. Obviously, making the top 10 on this, though, was that made it a little extra challenging for me because I've never played that many from a year when we've done this list. So,
did you put them all into like Pub Meeple when you were making the list though? Like,
yes, I did.
The ones that you didn't play any game. You were like, "There's no way this is on the list. I'm not even gonna put it on."
No,
here.
I put them all into Pub Meeple anyway, even if I knew, like in the long run, because the thing about Pub Meeple for me is it surprises me sometimes. Of I would play this game over that one. So I do like to see where the rankings fall. I find that interesting. Even if I know a game, there's no way it's in the top 10. I did include it for sure.
Well, you are an overachiever. I think I played like 40-ish games in 2024.
Yeah, I think I'm in that realm too. I don't have an exact number, but that sounds about right.
Yeah. But there could be some crossovers.
There's definitely some crossovers.
I know Little Alchemist is not on anyone's list.
I didn't play it yet, but I want to.
You should. I think you would really enjoy it. And I think you both should play regular Alchemists too. This is the year for it, guys.
For what it's worth, I enjoyed my play of Little Alchemist. I would like to experience Little Alchemist with the unlock factor in, because I do kind of want to see how that. I kind of want to.
It's resettable too.
Yeah. So I do it. I enjoyed it. I did really like it. I like the core concept, and it makes me, I think, when I play Alchemist, get a general idea of the concept. So, yeah.
I just love how many of these, junior versions of popular mainstream or hobbyist board games there are now. It's unreal how many there are.
I'm still waiting for the Food Chain Magnate one.
What's that?
I'm still waiting for the Food Chain Magnate one.
My little Food Chain Magnate.
But think about it.
Just 90 minutes.
It'll come in a Happy Meal box. Like that's that. If it doesn't come in a Happy Meal box, then they fail. But it has to come in a Happy Meal box.
Oh man. Well, before we have any callers here, we probably can jump into our number 10s. I will, of course, friendly reminder, call-board.com, be part of a show. Let us know what's in your top 10. And we would love to hear from you. That said, Anthony, you want to do your number 10 first?
I mean, sure. I'm only reluctant because I know that this is a crossover.
Oh, then do Chris. Do Chris.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's going to be higher on your guys' list.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't
Both
do it.
That's okay. That is okay. So my number 10 is fresh on my mind because I made last minute changes when I did one more run through my list, and I said, no, we got to move this and I got to put this up. So with that in mind, my number 10 is a game that was a review copy. I forget if you both got to play it, because we talked a little bit on Call Aboard at a point, but we haven't got like a full-fledged review on all of the games from this series. But it's from the small box series that All Play put together, And it is a game that stood out to me for a few reasons. Its general simplicity, yet the culmination of the gameplay, despite how simplistic it was, played into just a fun experience every time. And it was a small card game that I just really loved. I thought it just hit the spot, and that is none other than Panda.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a
I
real
did not
small
play
one.
this yet.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit here about Panda. In Panda, you're going to have cards labeled essentially A to G. There's literally only one G card. You're going to see, if you look at that left-hand side, the number of cards are listed at the top. You would flip it over after you've won a round. Once you've won 2 rounds, you would win the game. Plays very quickly, but the process of this game is simple. Any card in your hand is going to potentially suit up with one of these potential sets. It has to be exact. So just to be really clear, like if it says C and E, it's not C, E, and something else. It's 2 cards and it's C and E. And at the start of your hand, you have that, you're going to win. You don't win if that's what you get it to at the end of your turn. And that's a critical piece, because the only actions in this game are you're going to pick a card from the pile, pick a card from the discard pile, or discard a card. Now, as you're playing, you, especially early on, don't want to give too much lead to what you might be trying to do, but players are going to pick it up. I was playing a game tonight. My son immediately did the math at a certain point that said, you know what? I know you're going for 4 A's and 3 B's. We got to stop you. And he knew, he picked it up. And it's a hard thing to hide at a certain point, but that's part of the fun. How are you going to stop them, though? The interesting part is the other action you can do when you play a card and you discard it. If it happens to be an A, everyone is going to pass one of their cards to the left or to the right. I'm forgetting if it's left or right in this moment. But the bottom line is you're passing a card, right? And in passing that card, you completely can throw off everybody's gameplay in that moment. They might not get what they want. If you're paying attention and you know what not to give someone, you can make sure you're not giving them that. Again, simple gameplay, but the amount of fun that I had with this one, oh my gosh, I did not expect this to crack my top 10, but every time I thought back to it and when I was doing comparisons, this was up there. And yeah, I love it. Panda is my favorite of the small game series that All Play did. And when I say small, I mean this is the box. So
smaller than their normal small square box.
Yeah. So we're not talking the small square, like we are talking like, extra small here. So great. It's actually, I'm sorry, the tiny box series. Right. It is not Tiny M Epic, but it is tiny. So that is my number 10, Panda.
Good choice.
I quite enjoyed this game. It's kind of like Rummy Flux, right? Because like you could be going for something, but you do have to pivot at some point. And I like that it's not only, a set that you're trying to get, but the win conditions are different hand sizes too. Like that adds a whole nother aspect to it. And it's awesome what you said about your son really paying attention to not only what cards you're taking, but how many cards do you seem to be hovering around in your hand that you're trying to get done. So yeah, this was a neat one. Looking forward to what else they have in store in this tiny line of theirs.
They have some good ones. Prey was interesting, and there was a few other ones that I liked, but this was the best. And I want to point out too, the big thing that I didn't mention is it's intriguing too, because you may have a card. For example, my son had a bunch of A's and I had a bunch of A's. So he could have played it, but if he got rid of an A, he now had to go 4 or 5 turns before he had a chance to even have a chance to win again with what he needed. So you may not be able to get rid of certain cards either. So again, even though it's small and simple, it just, for me, it played out really well as just a solid game. And in a year where there was a lot of great card games, this one was one of the top ones for me.
Hey.
Good choice.
That was a good choice, sir. Oh yeah, I am wearing a classic B-52 shirt. I got this at their concert. When was it? I think it was last year or 2 years ago. It says it on the back of the shirt, I'm sure.
By the way, I will call this out. Marcel is correct in saying All Play gives us at least 1 or 2 decent small games a year, and it's true. They definitely pop out some smaller games that are worth adding to the collection each year.
Yeah, they got a good thing going so far.
Cool. Do you want me to go to my number 10, or do you want to go to Anthony's number 10?
Well, we'll go to your number 10 based on what Anthony said before. Because
all right.
Really something.
Well, there's one thing there's when you find specific board game designers, whenever they come out with a new game, you always got certain ones you always got to try out, and especially when one of them made the greatest frog-related board game of all time. They also made probably the worst frog-related board game that I've ever played. And that's my number 10. I still really thoroughly enjoyed it, though. And that was Murray the A-Hole Frog is my number 10. Designed by Jenna Felly. This is a take-that game where you are basically...
Rivet.
What? Yeah.
Rivet.
Is that interrupting Frog?
That's Murray asshole interrupting Frog, because this is my numero 7
Oh,
on my list.
Murray the crossover frog.
The Murray the crossover Frog.
Look at that. Yeah, this game is just wacky in great ways. Let me just highlight something. So I don't like take that games unless they're by Jenna Felly. Jenna Felly does a great job of making take that games not feel bad, where it feels fun to poke at someone and completely ruin their plans because they gave it the opportunity to just go right back and do it to someone else. Not only that, you have the Murray card within the deck, which is the A-Hole Frog, which will just mess with whoever is collecting the most bugs. And then there's the Wasps card, which are great for defending, but you don't want to end the game with them because whatever cards you have in your hand at the end of the game are how many points you're losing at the end of the game. So it's a real balance of what points I'm going to be making. And the other thing, too, is that whenever I target someone, they're going to be getting a tadpole card, which can't be targeted at all. And they grow an exponential point value based on
the more of them you have, the more points they're each worth.
Right. So if you keep targeting that same player, they're like, okay, we'll bring it because now I'm back. Anthony, why did you like Murray the A-Hole Frog?
It's like you said, I don't always love take that games either, but to your point, you're not going to be the only person who's getting picked on, and you're not going to pick on just one person. You're going to spread the picking on around. I love a good old fashioned, set collection type of game. And that's at the core what this is. You've got values and different shapes of the different species of flies and things like that. There's common ones and there's royal ones that have special abilities, and you might get this set, but then Murray can come and eat an entire swarm of the things that you were collecting in front of you. And it was just, there was always hope somewhere. And any game where you can kind of like something happens and you can go to like, never.
Mm-hmm.
Did that? No. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's great too, because you're always passing a card at the end of your turn, right? So you've got to keep fluid in what you have going on and you're managing your hand as well.
That's critical, by the way, because you can't end with one card. You have to have at least 2 at the end of your turn.
Right.
Which I feel like I remember, like, even the first time maybe we messed that up, right? But that was a critical piece. And I did enjoy this. It's not in my top 10, but I did like it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. And there was always a lot of laughter when you play this game.
Yeah.
Like,
And it seems to work well at a pretty high player count overall.
Yeah. You're not angry at the end of this. You're laughing. Do you know what I mean? Like, even when you're losing. Like, and when you're the next, because across the game, at a certain point, enough will have happened, partially because of an action you've taken. You're like, oh crap, now I'm the target. So you set yourself up for it. So you can't even be angry that you got attacked because you set yourself up by knocking out this person or someone else, and it's like, yep, now I'm the one people are going to go for.
Yeah, rotating target. Again, it's kind of like Munchkin sort of feeling.
But don't compare it to that. Don't compare
No,
it
no,
to
no, no. I don't. It's not. It's not like that at all. It is much better, and much simpler. And the artwork, arguably, is a little bit better as well.
There you go.
No, it's a great card game that you can teach to mostly anyone.
Cool. And that was Murray, the a-hole frog.
All right, so there's our first crossover. I'm about
Not the
to
last.
unleash another one with my number 10.
Mm.
Number 10 is a game that is an adaptation of an extremely popular video game, I guess you would say, mobile game, right? It's not for particular.
No, it started as a computer game and stuff.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I have never played. And so I remember these two guys being very anxious to get me to play, to hear my thoughts on it because of that fact, because I had nothing to compare it to. And I did really, really enjoy my plays of it so far. And I still get to play the video game, and the card game is awesome. That is Slay the Spire, where you are just trying to run through these, hordes of bad guys to make your way up this epic quest mountain to eventually fight an even stronger bad guy, encountering random events along the way, trying to upgrade your deck with really awesome powers and work collectively to, survive all the way up, ideally through 3 or 4 different acts. But you can save your progress after an act, which is really cool. And, I'll let you guys talk about it more because I know that it is on your list somewhere. But suffice to say, this is a really, really, just hit him up, slap him down, combo this, do this, cast this spell, kill that guy, knock this guy out, kind of a thing. To do as much damage as you can every single turn, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, let me just say, I have this on my list as well. This is slotted in, I believe, at number 4 for me. And for me, let me just say, I've played the video game. I enjoy it. I think I almost like it better here. The cooperative, which is, but I love the fact that I can play it easily on my own, and I feel like either setting. The cooperative play of this one is just so much fun. And the thing about this is, a lot of times when we say IP, the transition from whatever its core gameplay to the board game gameplay doesn't work, or it doesn't actually mesh up right. Man, they nailed this. They nailed it with this game, and I was just incredibly impressed, and I wanted to play again. And I was excited because we did Act 1. And what I found really interesting, I just want people to know, is I built up a character. I played a game with Ryan. Ryan also played a game with Anthony. We then, for our next act, Act 2, actually were able to take the character we built up, because we did separate characters, and play Act 2 together. And so that part was really cool to me. That gave me a really positive vibe from it on top of it, which is why shortly after that next game that we played, I actually messaged Ryan and said, I need to bump this up to number 4. It was on the list originally, but it was lower on my list, and that play moved it higher. And it's, again, exceptional design from IP game in a different world to board game. And I will just say this: at PAX Unplugged, I saw this flying off the shelf. I saw people excited, and I said, "Is that gonna really land? Like that feels like one of those ones that might just be more hype than, and will it deliver?" And yeah, it delivers. So I candidly would say, if you like the video game, you're gonna love the board game too. And clearly, if you didn't play the video game, you could enjoy it just as much.
So I absolutely adore the video game. And when the Kickstarter campaign was coming out for Slay the Spire, the board game, I foolishly said, why am I going to bother? It's literally a card game already in video game form. And there's so many things in the video game that are handled so well because it's a video game and not a card game. Why am I going to bother? I was wrong, guys. This is my favorite game of 2024.
Whoa! Yeah.
Wow, there it is.
It is number 1. I absolutely adore Slay the Spire, the board game. It feels it feels like a perfect adaptation because of exactly what I just said. The things in the video game that only work because there's a program that is calculating all of the crazy numbers and buffs and whatnot.
Yeah.
Translating it to the board must have been such a challenge. They could have easily just said, just whatever. This is an easy copy and paste job, or just slightly minify it to just work. No, they spent their time play testing it and really making it feel like Slay the Spire in board game form, and it feels like exactly like the video game. But what's interesting is that the video game you're only playing as one player, and because you are playing with other players in Slay the Spire, the board game, usually you could play solo too. It just feels less of the same and feels like a sequel, like a true sequel to the actual video game of Slay the Spire. So if you are a fan of Slay the Spire, get this game. Get this game for real. Now here's the thing. I was also hesitant because the price was like $100 something for the game. And
It's not cheap.
I bought the retail copy for $100. That's what we play. We played the retail edition, but it is a box that is stacked with cards, like piles and piles of cards. Not only that, piles of sleeves, because all the cards are double-sided, because you could upgrade cards permanently for your run. And it comes with these custom sleeves that just work so well. They did such a great job of translating this into a board game that I absolutely adore and will anytime happily play Slay the Spire, the board game.
Yeah, the components are fantastic. I mean, those sleeves are perfect fit that you can shuffle them very easily. We're sliding all over the place. The minis are cool. The components are good. The little tray is awesome. It's definitely a great package.
Yeah. And it's interesting. And this is not, I think, I want to be very clear from a comparison perspective, very different and price points, but like Anthony had a chance to review a game that's coming out that was on Kickstarter recently that did the same thing in terms of, not the same thing, but it was sleeving, right? You had to sleeve things. Now you weren't flipping them over, but I had to sleeve them up. And the quality of the sleeves is what I'm kind of getting at here. Misfit Heroes, for what it is, gives the sleeves that you're going to get because you're just sleeving them once.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, the quality of those sleeves, for the fact that you are going to have to flip and upgrade, you could tell the difference. And in the price point, I was okay with it. When you start talking about that, would I jump on this game if I had a chance and Ryan didn't own it and I had played it? Absolutely, because I think the quality across the board. And that is not a comparison to Misfit Heroes. I'm just saying, when you play a game like Misfit Heroes, that's like a $30 price point, right? And then you compare it to a $100 price point game, you do see the quality of it need to go to, and they did deliver on that, in my opinion.
Now, here's the question too that I have with Slay the Spire, the board game. Because I say the price point is rough because it is $100 for a deck builder. Okay. But if you think about it, the amount of cards that comes in there, the amount of content, it's effectively a deck builder with 3 expansions inside of it. They could have changed it to be like, here's one hero with their cards, and here's so it's like a psychological thing. Like, would that have worked with bringing more people in if they modularized it?
They could have done 2 heroes up front, in a $50 box.
I'm not saying they should have. I think they made the right call for what it's worth. I'm just saying, this is it. This is Slay the Spire, the board game. There is no room for expansions because this is it. And when you buy the video game, that's the same thing. There's no DLC in Slay the Spire. It's just, this is it. This is Slay the Spire. These are all the cards. These are the only 4 heroes you're going to get. These are all the possible bad guys you're going to fight. So it's, you know what I mean? I feel like if you look at it from that perspective, there's a ton of value because
Well,
there
I agree
is
with you.
so much packed in. It's like effectively a big box edition as the first game.
Sure.
I agree with you, and I'm glad they didn't go with the approach that I was alluding to of maybe you do 2 characters and then another character and another character, because ultimately then I don't know. I don't think it was necessary. I think they give you a complete package in a box, and that retail version that you're talking about is top notch.
Yeah.
It's top notch.
Yeah,
And
we didn't even have the Kickstarter version. We just bought the retail one, and
I'll be honest, I don't know what's in the Kickstarter version, but I
there's playmats and metal coins.
okay. No, I don't need it. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the playmats, to be honest.
Yeah.
So are the all 4 characters that are in the board game are in the video game as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's no DLC for Slay the Spire. It's just straight up, this is the game.
So that's it. There's nothing else added.
They're supposed to be working on a sequel now too. So, but anyways, that was a triple crossover. Your number 10, Anthony. Your number 4, Barrows, and my number 1, Slay the Spire, the board game from Contention Games, designed by Gary Dworsky, Anthony Giovanetti, and Casey Yano.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Home run game.
All right. Well, we all have a number 9 right now. Why don't we go right back to you, Anthony, and work our way back across, and then we'll keep going from there.
Okay. My number 9 is definitely another hot game. We're talking about PAX Unplugged. It is a re-implementation of another very popular game with some expansions as well, but it has a hugely fantastical popular IP attached to it. You may have heard of it, Lord of the Rings, it's called. You guys heard of this one? This is the Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle-Earth.
This might be a crossover.
This has to be a crossover.
It is a crossover.
This is Seven Wonders Duel with the Lord of the Rings theme, not just pasted onto it, weaved or woven throughout the very fabric of the gameplay, elevating it to a new level that if you are a fan of any kind of the franchise, you, I think, need to check this game out. And, it's got the same sort of setup with the, this cascading kind of pyramid where there's only a card or 2 that's available for a player to take on each turn. And as you take cards, that pyramid is going to start to be more revealed. Some cards are face down initially. They'll flip up. They have different resources on them. But it adds these like 2 other levels, really. It's got this area control kind of a thing going on with your towers on this map connecting different parts. And also it's got the epic chase of the wraiths chasing the little what are they called again? Halflings?
The hobbits thing.
I'm just calling it.
I mean, they are
are
halfling. Yeah, that
Well,
is
yes,
also
yeah, they are.
that is what the type of species they are. Yes,
But in that picture to the far left, that is the thing that really elevates this game, is that plastic sliding chaser mechanism is really, really fun and interactive and it's just great to look at.
And it could have just been 2 tracks. It could have just been 2 tracks, but they went the extra mile to make this acrylic like middle school ruler setup going on.
It really is.
That like you have this toy factor in there that really drives the point home. And
honestly, this extra aspect with the map is and kind of to Rail's point, it's kind of a better expansion for Seven Wonders Duel than the other ones, I would argue. It's that cool and that simple.
Yeah. And this, just for the record, is my number 7 from 2024. So it is on my list as well. And here's the thing. I love Lord of the Rings. I adore Lord of the Rings. There was a variety of good Lord of the Rings games I actually played over the past 365 days. But by the way, yes, it's so true. The middle school ruler factor. I wanted to look.
That's what it is, though.
It is. But here's the deal. I like that you mentioned that area control. The area control for me was the big game changer for me, because okay, the pyramid of cards piece, that's Seven Wonders Duel to a T, right? The chase piece was so cool, but then when you add in the area control, it was this differentiator for me. It was appropriate as when you're thinking about the war that's happening in Lord of the Rings, even though, because so much of Lord of the Rings, you think about Frodo and Samwise Gamgee trying to go to destroy this ring, but there's a war happening the entire damn time, right? The entire time. So I thought that was cool. This is the dual Seven Wonders duel game that I'm going to play. This is the Seven Wonders game that I'm going to play. And there's Architects, there's Seven Wonders, there's Seven Wonders duel. This is the one. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you need to own this game in my book. I think that's kind of how I feel at this point. But yeah, you've said pretty much my feelings on it. I was so glad. I mean, I know we had a chance to play it, and like I said, the chase is fun. I will note that chase on the ruler is a good time because you really got to watch it.
You can just hear the theme music when you're playing this one. It's great.
Oh yeah, put the music in the background. I got playlists if anyone need. I got plenty.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't want this video to be flagged.
No, not now. You don't mean right now. I'm saying after the fact. It's Spotify. I can share the link. But yeah,
I'm gonna be pretty honest with you, nerds. I am not crazy into the Lord of the Rings theme. Sorry.
It's okay.
But it's also on my list at number 3 because I love it that much. I'm gonna be honest. I was not expecting much with the game because I'm not really into the IP, and I feel like there's just gonna be another dueling cash grab because there's so much. It's got the dual team. You got Antoine Bauza and Bruno Cathala on this. So I wasn't really jazzed about playing it, and then it was at PAX Unplugged, and one of my old time Ghostbusting friends came by, and we're gonna play a game together. And I'm like, all right, well, you want to try this Lord of the Rings game? And he's like, okay. And I'm like, Barris, how do you play? I was like, oh, it's just Seven Wonders Duel. I'm like, okay. So I look into it, and yeah, it is like Seven Wonders Duel, but the nuances in there with the area control and the constant chase from that, from whatever they're called, Wraith guys.
Mm-hmm. They want the ring. They're just
right.
All you need to understand is their job is to get the ring, and they have a sense of where the ring is.
And then replacing the science. By the way, we didn't even talk about that. They replaced the science with this whole thing where you can kind of grab and have different spots for the area control game. I thought that was a really interesting twist as well too. So yeah, I mean, even if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, but you do like Seven Wonders Duel, this is the Seven Wonders Duel replacement. If I had this game, I don't think I would go back to Seven Wonders Duel. I mean, I would go back to Seven Wonders Duel, but why when we got this one? So.
And you don't need expansions for me. With this,
no, you don't. And that was one of the things with Seven Wonders Duel. It got to the point where there's just too much expansion. I think Pantheon was fine, but that's at a certain point, I think you're just bloating it up. And this kind of just fine tunes it into its own separate thing that doesn't need to be expanded.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is my pick as well too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
And we do have a caller. If you do want to be a caller, you can be part of the show, call-board.com. But I think it's time that we bring in a caller. We got Marcel in the studio. Let's bring him in.
Hey.
Look at that.
Howdy.
What's going on, Marcel?
Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm going to apologize right ahead. I'm just going off of my VG Stats app on telling me what's from 2024. So
that works.
That's fair.
So I'll go with the first. I got 2. So the first one I'm going to throw out there. I played on BGA. Love it there. Played it in person for the first time this weekend. That is Harmonies.
Harmonies. Yes.
I heard of that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Harmonies is going to be on the list for what it's worth. I'll reveal the where, but yeah, it's on the list.
I'll zoom in.
Yeah, I mean, with this one here, I just like the fact you've got nice tactile pieces. You've got different ways to build up your city, so you're not doing it the same as everybody else. You can play your own way. You can go through and you can target. If you see somebody's got a freebie goals thing coming up, you can take that just to block them if you really want to be like that. But yeah, honestly, it's just a fun little game with multiple ways to score. And honestly, I haven't had a game that's been the same either way for me to play it.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Where is
All right.
this for everyone?
One.
One?
Oh, geez, sorry.
No, don't
I
apologize.
apologize. I
That's
have
the
very
beauty
itchy
of
eyes
it.
right now, but it is also my number one.
What?
Oh no,
I'm not surprised by either of
I
those.
should have waited longer.
No, it's all good.
All right, it's not on my list, but I still enjoy Harmonies. Go ahead.
Well, Anthony, let me talk about this a little bit, and then I'll bring you in. So here's the deal. I talked a little bit about this in top 20s, and well, I don't know, and it'll be if this will stand the test of time that say Cascadia has. This scratched an itch that Cascadia gave me. It also scratched an itch that I don't talk a lot about because the game itself didn't stay in my collection, but I loved a piece about it, which was Reef. Reef was a fun game. I loved stacking. I loved the feel of the game. But the game didn't do much for me in the long run. I got bored. The scoring scenarios it got bland. This doesn't get bland. I play it repeatedly. I play it repeatedly. Harmonies has the nature vibe. Great, cool. That's fine. I think it works really well. The theme is there, but the actual way the game plays feels different, to Marcel's point, every single time I play this. There's also the nature spirits, right? They're the spirits that you bring in, and you start with the spirits. I think the spirits you can just introduce pretty much right away. Overall, they work really quick. They give another way to score. The double-sidedness of the board, adding a few different varieties, I mean, that adds to it. And every game, again, feels different. And for me, there is a feel to the game of reaching into the bag, setting those pieces up, and then deciding, I want to put this out here. I want to put this here. And be able to build a tableau of cards. And it's not a tableau, but it's the cards in front of me that I can score with. And saying, okay, I can connect this and this and this and work with this. And I'm looking at those cards, but I can decide when I'm going to take that card as part of my action and strategically try to make it so there's always one leaving so I can bring another one in. And that brought me almost a Scythe vibe of almost two different actions at once, right? So for me, yeah, this was a hit. Loved it. I hope this stands that test of time, but for me, it was a pretty easy pick for number one. I really just, every time, had a great time with this game, and anyone I showed this game enjoyed it.
Same. Yeah, I haven't had a negative response to this game yet, and that's from experienced gamers and novice gamers as well. Obviously, there are parallels between this and Cascadia. There's no debating that. What I think makes this one stand out a little bit from that is, it's in the name too, right? There are some really great situations where stuff just flows, and it just this is all built up. Man, I finished that card, and look at all this stuff on the perimeter. Hey, that's going to be part of that card, and that one could work over here too. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but when it does, oh boy, is it satisfying. And you can, to an extent, pivot a little bit with that. And Marcel, to your point, you can hate draft a little bit in this game if you really wanted to. There's no penalty for not completing a card or not scoring all the cubes off of it. But the fact that something that you have set up can work to satisfy more than one scoring condition, not only with the animals, but just in the terrain type scoring at the end of the game as well, which just works really well together. And it's ironic, that's the name. Even thematically, when you look at the artwork on the cards, it really goes together, right? You see the frogs and the butterflies have the same kind of environment that are the peripheral of one, becomes the start of the next one. It's just really, really well done. I hope they don't mess with this game too much. I don't know that it needs an expansion. I know it probably will get one, but I don't want anything too crazy. Maybe a different board that has two more sides that maybe do something different with a few more spirit cards or something like that. But I don't want to add any mechanisms to this. I don't want to add new, new places to take stuff or build stuff. This is great the way it is. Don't mess with it.
The balance of the game, even with the cards, is harmonious to me. There's enough that I can always get a few things to work together. I don't run into. There's always at least one that I compare with something else. So I agree.
And it's obviously very much like multiplayer solitaire to an extent, but you don't know. You better pay attention to what your opponents are doing because the end of the game can sneak up on you sometimes. Because when someone has 2 or less spaces left on their board, that triggers the end of the game, and you could be primed to get your last cube on maybe 3 animals coming up, but you may just not get that chance if that's the way it goes.
Yeah, and it's also kind of bad too if you're waiting for that one, treetop or mountain piece to come just to complete 2 cubes, and it doesn't come. Or sometimes you get that nice pull where you get all 3 pieces, complete something, and it's like, yes.
And I've had instances where I thought I was getting one of those golden opportunities, and I just totally misread the card. And I was, I can't do that. I already have cubes on those things. Oh my God, it's so stupid. And so I love that. That tells me that the game doesn't dictate the moves for you, right? That there's a lot of choice in this game. And and I do like the fact that there's 2 sides, like you guys said. The back one is basically just having as long of a flow of river tiles as you can. And the other one is trying to actually separate into these like little islands sections. So
I do like that they have an A side and a B side scoring too.
Yes,
which is nice.
Yeah. Not to mention too, with this game in particular, I feel like it's very easy for a game to be too abstract, and I feel like thematically a lot of the stuff does make sense in this game. You're building oceans, you're building rivers, you're building grass versus trees, and like it tactically, like it makes total sense and works in the confines of the game. A lot better than I feel like is appreciated to some other games that do tile laying. It's very easy to kind of like ignore some of the thematic integration. And I feel like Harmonies does an excellent job of doing that.
Agreed.
Awesome.
All our number 1s are revealed, by the way. So now our top one left is all our number 2.
So you call leave now. Thank you.
I'm almost afraid to say the only one I've played on BG only now that was actually my favorite 2024. It's Naishi.
Naishi. I've also heard of that game.
Yeah, just bring it up. Just it's there. It's number 2.
Oh my God! All right, hang on. It's my number 6. It's your number 2. All right.
Wow.
Talk about it, Marcel. Talk about this one.
It's one of those games that it's very simple to pick up, but very hard to master. And again, I've not yet run into a game that I've got a set way to play this to win. Anything that unfolds, you've got to be able to react. You've got to build up your table, and you got that nice little, and again, I forget what it's called, but where you send the one guy over and you can steal the other person's card and just completely blow up their tableau. But it's just a fun game. It's quick. It's easy to pick up. The art is fun. For me, this one here, again, only played it on BGA. I cannot wait to get this one on a table in person.
It's the same because I've got the order in on it. I almost ordered it not before it was coming to the United States. I almost ordered it off of a forum at one point. Like, that's how badly I wanted it. And here's the deal with this game. I mean, you talk about, that steal action. You do the steal action, but you're losing one of your tokens, which is a massive decision to make. It's a massive decision to make because that ability to move cards on your board from one spot to another is really pivotal, especially in the late game. And having 2 of those as opposed to 1, or I should say having only 1 as opposed to 2, makes a big difference. It is a game that after 1 or 2 games, I feel like you pick up on maybe, okay, this is really great when I have this, but no, the games weren't playing out the same for me. They're always these different scenarios, and I may really like, and I can get stuck in a way of almost saying, oh, I really want to get the fortress and I want to really line up my fortresses here, but it won't, I'm not going to win that way. Right. So it forces you to make decisions in the moment, and also the decision to bring back your tokens. I mean, you make that decision, you're losing any actions whatsoever otherwise. So you need to also be mindful in those moments. So I like that factor. This was, again, you're noticing another card game on the table for me. This is a theme for 2024 as a whole. There was a lot of really good and games I discovered, not just games from 2024, but there was a lot of really good card games that hit the table for me. And my goodness, this, yeah, I have no issue with this being at number 2. I feel like had it been even an in-person play that I've been able to do, like a bunch of in-person plays with whatever the final version of this is going to look like for the States, honestly, there's a good chance it would have been number 1.
Yeah. And I do want to highlight too some things, because I don't hear a lot of talk about this game.
No.
But I do want to. So if you haven't heard of Naishi, it's a tableau builder where you have two lanes of tableaus in front of you. You have the one that's face up in front of everyone, and you have the one secretly in your hand. So you can't change the order of the way these cards are laid out. Then there's the central market in the middle of different stacks of cards, and you could take any of those cards to replace any of the cards in that particular column from either your visible row or your hidden row. And every card plays differently based on where it is in your tableau, and especially in relation to what else is nearby, and what else you're actually trying to achieve. And certain cards are very push your luck. So it's a matter of kind of finding that balance. And those emissary tokens are huge, because you're either going to be using them to swap things around in your rows, or you could use it to trash some cards from the central pile. But you bringing that point of when do you use it to do the one-time action that any player can do, which is steal a card from your opponent and replace that, replace a card from your tableau to their tableau. Like, there's a certain balance, and man, like the agony between turns sometimes, because you're just gonna be you're in a rock and a hard place every time you're playing this game. I really thoroughly enjoyed Naishi, and fingers crossed we're getting our copy this year. So I'm looking forward to hopefully that pre-order.
And one thing I do like too is in the beginning of the game, you get 2 cards that you get to look at, and you got to give your opponent one of those. So you're almost kind of trying to make I'm gonna pivot towards this.
Yeah.
But when those cards flop in the middle and you see what's there, it's like, oh, I might have made a bad choice. I got to pivot early, otherwise it might be too late.
Yeah.
That is an interesting point that you make, because you are picking a piece that a card type that they're going to have, and it's only one card, so it can't indicate the complete style. But for example, the difference of the way maybe a fortress card plays versus a field card plays, where you might be fields you want to keep together. I mean, they're all going to indicate some option that they have, right? So it is cool because it doesn't give away too much information, but you know that they've got a little bit of information about what you have and vice versa. So I like that. Yeah. Really good picks. Like I said, we may have a similar taste in some games, Marcel.
Yeah, we might. Anyway, I'm not gonna suggest anymore. I don't want to knock off any more of the surprises.
How dare you?
No, that's why we love it. That's what we love about the call board part here, and hearing your picks. But thank you, Marcel. Appreciate it. I think we're all excited to play the final actual physical version of Naishi. But I mean, the fact that, again, most of these plays when we're talking about Naishi, talking about games that are BGA, I mean, that it stands out just how good it was.
Yep.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Later, Marcel.
Later.
Thanks, Marcel.
All right.
You want to be like Marcel, by the way, call dashboard.com. We've had Maddie made an appearance tonight, son, We've had Marcel. So yeah, anyone else wants to be part of a show, call dashboard.com. We'd love to hear what made your top games of 2024. Guys, can I when we get to the end too, I am gonna just let you know, I'm gonna share up a few of the ones that I wish I got to play. I don't want to reveal that now because I don't want people to know what's not on the list per se. I've got a few. I have a small list of ones that I wish I got this to the table.
Yeah. All right. So you want to do your number 9 though?
I guess I
might
could.
as well just go now. Just order, lowest number left to right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fill it in from the bottom.
I'll do my number 9. My number 9 might surprise people that it's on here, especially amongst a lot of the medium to heavyweight games that were out there this year. But this is a game that took me by surprise. It has become a hit in my house. It's a game that's going to travel with me throughout the summer and really in a lot of places that I go, because it's one, there's a push your luck component, which I enjoy. Not necessarily good at, but I enjoy it. And it's also a game that has these nice, fun, chunky wooden pieces. It's got a big old drawstring bag. This is none other than Seaside. And yeah, I first played this one, just so people know, at PAX Unplugged. It was one of our community members, Dr. J, had picked it up, and I said, "Oh man, this is pretty cool." And the photos you're seeing are actually from my game with Dr. J. What are we trying to do in this game? First and foremost, we are trying to be the player with the largest stack of tokens at the end of the game. Simple enough. The highest stack of tokens wins. There's 70 tokens in the bag, and the bag itself is exactly what carries everything. There's a small, very small instruction manual, and there's a few things in this game. So first and foremost, you've got tokens you're going to draw from the bag. They're double-sided. If they're the isopods, the shells, or the crabs, they've got a symbol that is just an arrow going around, and that means you get to go again. So you could push your luck and continue to go. There, of course, going to be other ways that you're going to get these from the sea, because the tokens that you're placing down that are continue your turn, you're placing in the sea. And then the beach is essentially your area in front of you, is the way that I understand it. But there are sandpipers in the game that are going to, as an example, eat up those isopods and take all the isopods from the middle of the board. So, man, you could start building up and realize there's like 6 isopods in the middle of a board. Not get a sandpiper, and then the next player is going to get a sandpiper, and now they've got a stack of 7.
Mm-hmm.
There's few other interesting ones. You've got the beach, which allows you to take a shell, but then if you get another beach later on, you get 2 shells at that point. You have the ability to get a wave, which flips over the beach to whatever's on the other side. Waves also, whoever has the most waves, you get everything from the middle of the board at the end of the game. And then last but not least, there's these rock formations. Once you get the second rock formation, you get to collect all the crabs up. So it's simple to ultimately teach. And once people play, they're going to get it. But every game is a little different. You don't know what's going to happen, what's going to come out. Again, push your luck. I'm not a beach person. I've said this on the show before. I'm not a beach person. Man, this is coming to the beach, and this is going to entertain me at the beach because it's such a perfect thing to bring to the beach, but play a game in 15, 20 minutes and pretty wind resistant overall.
Well, that's what they claim, right? That's the marketing ploy here. Is that
so we're going to test that theory.
Yeah.
Do you think the print on the wooden? Yeah. So this is a good question. Do you think the print on the wooden chips can withstand play on the sand long term? I think that's a great question. I hope so.
I don't know. I think it depends on where you are. I think you probably have to play it like on the sand like a lot. But I think if you're by the ocean, I think the ocean air.
Don't play at your own risk.
Absolutely.
It happens.
But also at the price point that it is, I think it's going to get more. You're going to get more of an enough value if that is deteriorates over time at some point. But I do like I like the pieces the way they are. It has the right feel to it. It feels right. It
How
really
much
does.
was it?
I don't know what the MSRP was off the top of my head. I think I paid 20 for it though.
Okay.
So I was fine with that. But I don't know MSPR off my head. But really, again, I like it. It to me, it felt like a game that was made with love. But when it comes down to it, the replayability of it has been high, and I've played this many, many times already.
I enjoyed it a lot when I played it with Dr. J. I felt like, you know, like after playing it, I was like, man, I wish I had like, if I were to suggest to a beach realty company what to put in all of their summer homes, this is the game for that.
Yep.
Like super chill, just sit in your, beach house and just play some Seaside.
I was gonna say the same thing. This is like if you went to an Airbnb, this would be like on the dining room table.
Well,
with like just a
funny enough, on BGG, I was looking at just what some people had commented on this, and someone wrote at my beach house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. This needs to be pitched out to all the Airbnbs that are on a beach.
Yeah,
It really does.
Game is
But
best for beach house.
So this is not on my list because I actually have not played it. But Chris, going back to what you said a little while ago, this is one that I wish I did get to try. I have a feeling that would have been at least a contender to make my top 10 because I do love the concept. I love the simplicity. I love the style of it. I love the theme. So yeah, I really do want to try this one.
Cool.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
Word. All right.
My number 9.
Hold on. What did Pablo say about this? One complaint on BGG is that
I don't think you need them after one play. I don't because once you know how they play, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory after you do a couple.
Well, let me ask you this though: because when you buy this, it kind of I know it has the bag, but it sort of comes with like this box-ish thing around it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like does the instructions like stay well in the bag?
Yeah,
or does it
totally
get, like,
fine.
all, like,
It's so
crumpled
small
up and
too.
stuff?
It's like it's basically like a small slip. I compare it to if you have Hive, like Pocket Hive.
Okay.
It's the same kind of thing. It's fine. It fits in there perfectly. Yeah. Yeah. I would say to Pablo, yeah, no, it's a non-issue. You're going to pick up the rules and you're going to know them and you're going to be able to teach them. This does this. This does this. I mean, yeah, just keep it in there and give it to the new player.
All right. Cool. Well, my number 9 is a game I backed on crowdfunding. It is a soul-only sequel to one of my favorite board games. At one point, my most favorite board game of all time. And it comes in a box that has been shrunk down. I feel like the game could have been called Honey, I Shrunk the Gloomhaven, but Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs is also a good title for this game. So yeah, that's, by the way, that's my 6-year-old's finger, just to show how small this game is. They took what they did was they took which, by the way, this was designed by Joe Klipfel and Nikki Valens, which Joe Klipfel designed a fan variant of Gloomhaven called Gloomholden, where the idea was you could play Gloomhaven with a deck of cards and kind of treat it like a puzzle. This is the official Cephalofair Games version, where you're going through a stack of cards that are all essentially Gloomhaven style puzzles. And it does such a great job of feeling like Gloomhaven that I'm like, man, this is too good. Like this is doing obviously it's not Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is a better experience. But Gloomhaven Button and Bugs, I would rather play solo than Gloomhaven solo. It's episodic. You go through, and as you beat different levels on the other side of cards, are actually like benefits. So you'll like unlock new things for your character, and you will level up your character. And there's different characters you can try. So if you're a fan of Gloomhaven, and if you like low setup solo board gaming, Gloomhaven Buttons and Bugs does a great job of doing that.
What if you're not? What if you would like to enjoy Gloomhaven but don't own Gloomhaven, but get the general vibe of Gloomhaven? Would this fall into the same?
Yeah, I think you would like it, Chris.
Yeah,
because that's you, right? That's
He
you.
was asking for a friend, right?
Yeah, asking for a friend. Yeah. What if So look, if you don't like the setup of Gloomhaven, if you want to just dive in the puzzly aspect of it, because it's actually pretty challenging. It's a very challenging package that's in here, because there's times where I've lost a lot more than I've won in this game. So they do a really good job of finding that balance. So yeah, I think you would enjoy this one for sure, but it's not going to replace obviously the Gloomhaven.
Oh no, I don't anticipate that, but it's definitely one I would like to try.
And also our soon to be tackled Frosthaven experience.
That's right.
Is the year for it, guys. Is the year for it. But that was my number 9, Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs, a very cute adaptation of Gloomhaven that I would recommend.
So excellent. Before we go to my number 8, friendly reminder, I see Dan is here, by the way. By the way, Dan,
hey,
for anyone who doesn't know, Dan gets deals. We don't know how Dan does this. So here's Dan's latest deal. Got Sky Team for $4. I want to go to just shopping with Dan for a day to see what happens.
Because when that happens, there's not going to be anything on sale anywhere. It's going to be like Michigan J Frog that doesn't sing when anybody's watching. And then we'll leave, and then the next day, Dan will get Slay the Spire for like $3 or something.
Barnes & Noble ripped box. That's fine. You'll be okay. By the way, thank you, Mr. Coaster. Appreciate you stopping by. So look, my number 8. I'm going back to the card games. And this was one which I don't know that I've ever had a solo focused game in a top 10 that I've done. And I don't know if we've done top 10 solo games, for what it's worth. That's probably another category that we should consider.
We've done this for a long time.
If we did, it was a while ago, and I didn't do a lot of solo games then. So this one is one that surprised me. It is a game that I personally found both thought-provoking, like it made my brain work. Not thought-provoking, but it made my brain work, but I wasn't stressed by it. It's a soul game by Scott Alms. The theme is perfect for a coffee or tea shop, in my view, and it's a nice cuppa. And I really, really love this one. I don't know that it's for everyone, because I do think for some it might get a little brain burning, just because you really got to think about how you're moving your cards. But what you are trying to do in this game is you have essentially 2 rows of cards. And in these 2 rows of cards, you're going to have numbered cards. And then below them, you're going to have these particular obstacles to your day. These distractions, there's a variety of these. There's those 2 expansions, by the way. I should note that, change that up, but even add another spot in the row. By the way, Danielle knew this would make an appearance. She probably figured, because I've talked
about
our
top 20.
Yeah. So the biggest thing about this is you want to have the top row numbers in order, and you also want to have them flipped to one of the particular sides. So you're trying to balance this, but you're also trying to get rid of the cards on the bottom. So actions you're going to take are going to allow that to happen. But you don't necessarily always want them to go away, because they might have an action that say, okay, when I get to this row, if a card is flipped a certain way, then it means that this action is going to happen. And I might flip this card from the front all the way to the back. And I might really need to get that one more towards the front. And so I've got to think about that. And it's a lot of, it doesn't hurt my brain for some reason the way I thought this game would. It actually felt relaxing, and I didn't overthink it. And I, generally speaking, I can say have not won the game to the point of getting all the numbers in a row flipped over to the correct side, but I enjoyed every time. They have some other expansions that they add that are seasonal, that add an additional challenge in. This is by the way, I want to point out, was a review copy that I just did not anticipate loving this much. So it was a really nice surprise for me. I really quite enjoyed it. It is not for Northwood level here, but it's a touch below that for me, but I really did enjoy it. So yeah, here it is on my list at number 8, a nice cuppa, Scott Alms. This is a Button Shy game. It was a review copy, I want to point out. And if you like Button Shy and you want a nice solo experience, this is one that I would tell people to check out.
Did you have a nice cuppa while playing?
I did. The first time I played this game, it had just come in. I was in New York City helping a place that I sometimes do events for online. I was helping them with an in-person event, and in between events that we were doing, we went to a coffee tea shop, and I was there. Mind you, I probably should have been having tea, but I had a cup of coffee. I was playing in this shop, and I set it up on the table. And I had some people come by like, "What is this?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was enjoyable. So I did actually first play it in essentially a coffee.
No one said that to you in New York. Come on, they're probably walking by.
No, I did. I wanted to we were in this tea shop for like an hour and a half.
That's a nice couple you got there.
That's not what they said. We were there for a while though. We had like 3 hours between our two events. So
all right.
It visually presents very well. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
All right.
Must be out of town.
Sweet. Well, my number 8 is a game from famed designer Reiner Knizia, whose themes, when you look at the list, are kind of all over the place. I think we looked at this game initially on a video, I guess last year, maybe about games that were coming out or that we were looking forward to. I forget. And I remember it was just kind of funny looking at this. The cover, I was just like, what is this? I was very dismissive right away, I'll be honest. I didn't understand the cover. I still don't understand the title of the game. But it is quite fun. And that is Space Agency, Cats in Space. Okay? This is everyone gets on the rocket and holds on for as long as possible, hoping it doesn't crash. Push your luck. Do you want to stay on and go farther and farther if the commander can do so? Or do you want to jump ship and land on, this planet or this moon or whatever? Visually, very cool board. After you get past the whole, anthropomorphized, I can never say that word, anthropomorphized cats as astronauts, the board is cool. There's a planet that's goldfish in a bowl. There's a planet of yarn. It all just makes sense. And it's a really fun game. You're going to be choosing one die to act as your astronaut on each expedition. And starting from the bottom space, whoever's the commander is going to roll I think there's 6 dice. And at each spot on the board, there's a certain value of dice that can be used that turn to propel the rocket, and some that can't. If you're ever in a situation where none of them fit that criteria, that's when a crash is going to occur. But if you do have enough, you can add those values together and move that many spaces up the sort of, wavy space track. And all along that are these spots that you can, jump off at, whether it's a planet or a moon, because that's how you're really going to score points. There's, objectives for getting the most astronauts on one moon or one planet or 3 different planets or whatnot. And you can have multiple astronauts on different planets, but only one of yours on each moon. So you can kind of lay stake to the moons your own. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You're going to be crashing every so often, but the dice have all different abilities on them. You can kind of mitigate the disaster sometimes, right? Like one of the dice is like a little parachute thing. So if you do crash, you can still kind of, land on something that's adjacent. Yeah. One of them lets you get double points for the moon that you land on or whatnot. It's just really cool. It's everyone's in the same ship, literally, and you're just kind of hoping that things go according to plan, and they often do.
And the rollout mat is awesome. Marcel, as I kind of shared, they point out they have a dog expansion now. BGA's still mad with this, he said, but haven't seen the dog expansion? It's called Blep. Blep. Cosmic Pioneers.
All right.
Oh boy,
I need to
So
point out, by the way, that they are called Catronauts.
Captronauts. That makes sense.
yes.
And the fun thing is too that whenever you're on a spaceship and it does explode, all the cats land safely because cats always land safely.
That's
So you don't lose any catronauts, excuse me.
Yeah, you get your die. You get your die back. Back to your selection pool of dice there. But it's tough to get, because if you get all the way up past all the planets and stuff, there's deep space that can really score you like kind of bonkers points. But it is not easy to get all the way up there.
No, it's not. And those powers and abilities on some of those catronauts, I think, go a long way to help with that, but they definitely don't guarantee it. You've got a lot of luck to get there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I guess my whole point of this is I was very, pleasantly surprised by my experience playing this game. I didn't think a lot of it at first, and I really quite enjoyed it.
If there is a glass of water in zero gravity, does a cat still knock it over?
That's a great question.
I think the cats always find a way to knock something over.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And was it Greg who I know I remember it was Greg, I think, that brought this up originally on an episode back in our 2023 PAX Unplugged coverage.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Post video.
Yep.
Because it wasn't out yet, but it was like being demoed.
It was there, yeah. Because it came out in like January of 2024. That's why I always forget that that's a 2024 release.
That's what. Yep, I was again pleasantly surprised when I saw that it was 2024. I was like, oh, that's right. I can put this game on the list now. Yeah, good stuff.
Very cool.
All right, my number 7 is a really solid Euro game that looks beautiful, and you both played. And that was designed by Danny Garcia, same designer as Barcelona Arborea, and that was Windmill Valley. As soon as this was announced, pre-order immediately. Look at this game. That is, cool.
No, it is. It is
very cool
production.
So what this game is a big ol' Euro fest where every player has an action selection cog machine, and there's one 6-piece cog and one 5-piece cog, and on your turn you're going to be rotating that cog and choosing one of the two actions of either side cog to do. But you could upgrade your cog and have crazy combos go on, and those actions, and when they do, it goes bananas. That's honestly like my favorite part of this game. And Barros, I think you want to talk about it too, because
it's my number 6.
It's your number 6. There you go.
Yeah, this one, I love the cogs. It takes me to a few other games that I've enjoyed that use them in a different way. They've had a resource on them or something, but in this case, the fact that it's the intersecting points of the cogs was really interesting to me. I mean, visually, this board is candidly stunning. You look at it, it grabs your attention, but it's not difficult to find what's on the sections. It's designed, I think, so well in the sense that it looks beautiful, but it's not overpowering. Whereas and we haven't got a chance to play it, but like Patoku, I've looked at and been like, whoa, there's a lot going on here. What is all this? It's really clear. The sections are very much divided. And for me, there was just a striking balance to this game in the way that it plays and the decisions you have to make. They make it that it feels like a game that you can be good at, but I don't know that you'd ever. I don't know if it's one that you would truly master very quickly. I feel like the variance of it is enough, but it doesn't feel. You know how often when we talk Euro, there's, I don't know, sometimes there's a samey feel with Euros, feel similar vibe, right?
Yeah.
This didn't feel that for me. It felt like it had its own unique identity. And
It's
yeah, to
very
that,
fresh.
yeah, it really is. And I think it does go to those cogs and the fact that you can upgrade those cogs. But choosing to upgrade the cogs as opposed to other actions, you might be sacrificing points early on to get points later. It really depends how you want to do it. There are some pieces you can put in that maybe are going to be great for you, but don't for your end game, but don't add a ton of value to your future turns. So you have to make some very tough decisions in this game, and I like that. And then again, I've got a chance to play it a few times, uh, obviously at this point, and it felt a little different every time. And I did feel better the second time around, but then the first time, which a pretty significant difference. But generally speaking, yeah, I think it's a very well designed game, and it's one I think people should check out. Even if you say, "Oh, I don't like Euro," maybe you're more Euro game. No, try this out. I think this is refreshing.
Yeah.
I played
No,
this once and I really did enjoy it. I wanted to play it again. I only played it the one time, so it didn't make the top 10, although I will tell you it was on the short list. It's somewhere around 13, 14, 15. It had the cool Euro, a little bit of an economic thing going on with the tulips and such, but that whole, upgrade your cog thing is pretty cool. And to your point about it not feeling samey all the time, the way that the cogs are set up, because one's a little bit bigger or has more spaces than the other one, the intersection where they match up, where you pick one of the two things, is not going to be the same each time. Like if you have the two there and you rotate the wheels that many times again, it's not going to be the same matchup. So the choices are going to be different a lot as well.
Not only
And just
that,
visually, just stunning. I mean, it's so beautiful, this game.
but it drives the tempo too, which I really like a lot too, because every time the red blade passes through, the game progresses, you're going to get a different benefit and you'll get closer to the end game. So, you could be in a position where you feel like you're in the lead and try to push that tempo. And I like that a lot. But the thing is, you're at a point where you kind of want to do everything. You kind of want to maximize as much as you can. So you want to take smaller cog spins, So it's a matter of, how much am I enjoying it, like doing the thing, or how much should I rush this game because I know I'm in the lead, or, oh my God, I'm not catching up. So maybe I just go slow and focus on that. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome game. So Windmill Valley, definitely check it out. Danny Garcia knocked it out of the park for me, at least with Barcelona and Windmill Valley. I did enjoy Arborea. I would like to play it again. I do have Daitoshi. I haven't played yet. That I would like to play as well.
And as much as I loved Barcelona, I could see Windmill Valley hitting the table more than Barcelona just because it feels like a little bit of a lighter experience.
It's a lot more approachable than Barcelona was. Yeah, for
sure. Joseph, by the way, chiming in. Windmill Valley is super fun. On our last game, my wife won on the first tiebreaker.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm with you there.
That was my number 7, Windmill Valley.
Which all right, I guess it's on me, right? For number 6.
Yeah, it would be your number 6.
My number 6, let me make sure I remember my number 6, is a game from designer Amon Anderson, who was on the channel before talking about this game and Twinkle Twinkle as well. And Ryan has described this game as the train game without trains. This is Gnome Hollow.
This is.
So in Gnome Hollow, you are essentially completing these routes, as you might call them, these rings of mushrooms. There's a good amount going on in this game. It has that little bit of a Euro feel to it, but the whole theme of it and the production is, doesn't really lean that way, I guess you would say. But essentially, you're going to be just placing these hex tiles out, trying to match up those paths and eventually connect them because you want to claim all the mushrooms that are on that ring. There's a couple ways you're going to get points. And one of them is that center picture there you can see is basically the market where you will go to sell your mushrooms. So the mushrooms have different values, right? The red ones are worth least and down to those purple ones that are the most valuable. You can always cash in that first column there of 2 of them, but as it sort of goes to the right, you can cash in that many and get that many points, with the caveat that that is going to be blocked off then. So for example, on this picture, someone went to the market and sold 5 blue mushrooms. No one is going to be able to sell those 5 blue mushrooms anymore. You could sell 4 if you have them. But that's only one thing that you're doing. You're also going to be collecting flowers. The more flowers you have, the more points you're going to get at the end of the game. There are different signposts that you can visit as well that are usually going to give you more mushrooms of a certain kind, or maybe one of 2 different kinds and things like that. In addition to that, you've got your own personal player board where you're not only collecting those flower pots, but also depending on the size of the ring that you completed, how many tiles are involved in that, you're going to get these ring bonuses as well, which are going to give you even more ways to get points. They're going to give you more flowers. They're going to give you an extra mushroom or 2. They're going to give you a tile that you can store your personal supply to add later as well. There's also wild tiles that are just a full ring, and they can sort of count as any intersection and be used to complete things. You only have 2 pieces in this game, 2 gnomes, so you are kind of limited into where you're going to be putting these things. And at the end of the day, very satisfying, very nice artwork, and the biggest, notch up that this game offers is the fact that the little cylinders you're using on your player board are magnetic, and those ring bonuses there are all magnetized spots. So you're never going to knock it over, or it's going to fall out of its little spot and you forget where you had things. That was a really nice touch to this. And again, also really love Twinkle Twinkle. So very excited to see what Amon Anderson keeps putting out, because these are a couple of really good games here.
On this note,
boards are cool. I will say though, I noticed when I was taking pictures for this game, one of my player boards did start to separate a little bit on the side. It kind of felt like the glue maybe had dried out or something like that. Hoping that doesn't affect the magnets inside at all, but so far we'll be all right.
I was gonna say the magnets. I remember being like, "Whoa!" Like it was almost like I don't feel like I've experienced this before.
Yeah, it's a really good touch, and it's not superfluous, right? It's not just there because let's make magnets in a game. Like it's really it makes sense, and it's
well, it's helpful because those pieces aren't huge. Can I ask you, Anthony?
Yeah.
Because I had a chance to play this with you. I did enjoy it. I did like this game, but I know that there was also, was it more advanced version, the other side? I don't know if you ever got to play with more of the other
so
stuff.
the side that's in this picture, I think, is the basic side where you'll have the certain number of tiles in the rings, and I forget what the range is there. I think maybe it goes to 7 at the high end. The flip side of the board, which I don't have a picture of, has specific ring formations, like shapes that you need to accomplish to get those bonuses, like a sort of figure 8 looking thing, or just a complete circle, or a sort of 3 kind of clover looking thing. So that does, I guess, it makes you go for certain tiles more, and it probably takes a little bit longer to maybe achieve the ones that you want. But even in this basic version, I mean, you can certainly, much like in like Carcassonne, like you can place a tile that kind of messes with your opponent if they're trying to get a certain thing, but in this game you actually do have to get their permission if you're adding to a ring that they have a gnome on.
Right.
So there is that.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely felt a little train gamey with it.
Yeah, it's a little mushroom stock market thing. It's cool.
Yeah. I did like that. Yeah, early on in the chat, Matt D'Agostino brought up his appreciation for Gnome Hollow as well too. But yeah, those magnets, they win me over.
So we've got our bottom 5 completely wrapped up now. So as we get into our top 10, what does our top 5 even look like right now? Because we had a few of those revealed.
We're even the whole top 5 here if you want. There we go.
So Anthony's got the most left here. I guess I could start with my number 5, and we'll continue to work that way. And we're gonna have an Anthony show for a little bit there, though.
The Anthony show. All right. Well, my number 5. It's interesting. I normally do not put games on a list that I have only played one time. Except for Windmill Valley. This one, however, I only played one time, but it made the list because it just clicked. And I think both of you played it before me and both knew that it was going to click with me and that I was going to really enjoy this one. And so even though I only played it once, it is number 5 on this list, and that's Cities.
Yes.
So, there's everything in this. There's the scoring patterns. There's taking the tiles and building your city. There's the nice, cool plastic buildings that you're building up, and you're just trying to make your own little tableau. There's all these different places that you can put your worker, with the exception that you can only put a worker in one row once per turn. Meaning, if you put a worker on that, second to bottom row to collect a new tile to add to your city, you're not going to go there anymore for the rest of the round. So your choices are right there in front of you, for all to see, and, good luck getting what it is that you want. You're trying to build up your city. You're trying to get certain heights of certain buildings. You're also adding these unique features to your city, whether it's stuff on land, like it's a food stand or a ride or something like that. And then there's stuff on the water spaces as well, like boats and things like that. Public objectives, try to get to different cities, have different scoring objectives. We played, I think it's either New York or Rio, I think that they recommend for the first one. But again, it left me wanting to play it again very soon. And even though I didn't get to, it left enough of an impact for it to make my list here.
We are lock and step today. Our number 1 was the same. Our number 5 is the same.
All right.
What?
So let me talk about Cities. And again, like I said, I played a lot of games. And I did not and I'm just going to say it right now because it's not on the list, and I'll just reveal it because I need to make reference to it. The game I thought from DeVere that would be on the list would be Rock Hard 1977. I never got to play it. I have a copy. I didn't get to play it. Cities I picked up because I saw it. There was a really good price on it. I was like, I got to grab this.
And it's Phil Walker Harding, who we love. So we're intrigued.
Also, welcome to Dr. J, who just arrived.
Hello.
We were talking about you earlier, Dr. J. So here's the deal with Cities. It has, it's just this perfect weight for what the game is for me. Because to your point, Anthony, there's a scoring row, a feature tile row, a city tile row, and a building pieces row. Those are the 4. But with that action of once I've gone there, I'm not going back there this round. It makes every decision incredibly important. And in the meantime, so we have this level of interaction where we're fighting in a sense over what do I really want now? You get a sense of what people are going for. And even though that we are building our own cities, we are still mindful of what everyone else has to do in those moments, right?
Right, because there's scoring that you draft it yourself, and then there's public race to get first at each objective as well.
6 different cities. I think I know there's promo cities, but there's 6 different cities. But because, and you might say, well, there's only 6. Is that after that's a small piece of the puzzle because there's all the other ways you're scoring because you've got your own things that you're taking from the scoring row, right? And you might want something that someone else wants, and you might want to jump on that. So it's just a great balance. I really fell for this one. And look, Phil Walker Harding, don't get me wrong. When I see his name, obviously I want to try every one of those. It doesn't mean I'm going to love it. This one was a really easy game to love. Steve Finn, Phil Walker Harding, great job with this one. And the end of game scoring, the achievements, the general scoring that exists, which are also include monuments and water and park spaces, plus your scoring cards, and the player with the most victory points wins. So while it's fairly straightforward, it's flawlessly executed in my mind from my play. And for me, yeah. And can I just say, stacking those pieces, which you can go up to 4 high,
Right.
incredibly fun.
Yeah,
Incredible.
very satisfying.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 5 as well.
Awesome.
So this is on the I wish I played it in 2024 list. I do really want to play Cities.
Oh, you didn't play it. Okay, I thought you
I did
guys
not play it,
together before I played it. Okay.
but it looked like it was right up my alley. So
By the way, big hello to OG Ryan in the house, saying lists are looking good tonight.
howdy. All right.
All right. Let's see. It looks like Ryan's up with his 5, or do you want me to do? Yeah, right. Yeah,
I'll do my 5.
and then I can do my 4, I guess.
All right. My number 5 is a game that I was hoping to get a better picture of, but I only took one picture, and I did not take a picture of it. Barrows, he took the picture of it.
Okay.
It is a expand alone to my favorite game of 2021. I believe that's when it came out. And that is Imperium Horizons. This is designed by Nigel Buckle, David Turtse, and that's the only picture I have over here. So don't worry about the picture. What this is a civilization deck building game where all of the decks are completely different because you're playing as different civilizations. So in this particular game, Barris, you play it as the Magyars, which is pretty cool. But there's different. I was just going to start up a game to play as the Gupta. But there's all different kinds of civilizations you can play as, and it integrates with Imperium Legends and Classics, but it stands out as its own thing because it includes a new module in the game for trade routes, which is it's just more ways to score. So I feel like this is a pretty heavy deck builder, and I had such a great time playing it. I still love playing it. However, if you saw my top 20 of this year, you know that the Star Trek version of the game, Star Trek Captain's Chair, has entered my top 20, and I absolutely adore that game. But the amount of content in Imperium Horizons is pretty astounding. I think there's like 12 or 14 different civilizations you could play as, and then the box is big enough that it holds everything. Not only that, they anticipated people to also have a box that holds everything. So the rule book includes all the rules for the other games in it. So it's just one big old lexicon, which is phenomenal. Like, yes, you know your target market, which is completionists. So yeah, if you want like a heavier kind of deck building thing where there's different levels of difficulty, but also is best for 1 to 2 players. I wouldn't exceed 2 players just because it can go pretty long. Give Imperium Horizons, Classics, Legends, any of them a shot. And yeah, so.
And contrary what you might have thought, I did enjoy my play of this.
I know you did.
I think you're right in saying, yeah, it does. It's not a short game. And and you told me that ahead of time. I think that's important to note going in, but it is a very well designed game. And I could see that from the start. I'm not the person who's going to invest in the game, but I would play it again and in that same sense. So it's having someone who's invested, but it's, again, you're right. I can imagine people having everything for this because there's so much you can own for this at this point.
There's tons of variety, and the variety that I find most exciting is not with the cards in the central market, like a typical deck builder variety you're thinking of. The variety is in the civilizations because everyone has their own deck of cards that is completely unique. Like there's some cards that are pretty standard for all of them. But you have a different layout, you have different rule sets, you have different cards that you can only grab from. Because if you see over here where it says Ascension and Nation, so anytime you go through your draw deck, you just take the top card of the Ascension deck, and then you just keep going. And then eventually you'll take the Nation card, and then the cards in the development area are the ones that you would then get after going through your draw deck. So you have like this deck that's catered to a particular unique play style. So yeah, it does everything so well. So Imperium Horizons is a great entry if you were to jump in. But honestly, get whatever is cheapest if you really want to try it out. That's my number 5, Imperium Horizons. Go play it. I want to go play it right now.
And just historical relevance of this too for anyone who's listening, because in the past I had Empires. Well, I've talked about this before. It's been in my top 20, and it still is, I believe. So just coming off, but like Empires of North Sea, just as an example, like I love Empires of North Sea, which is definitely lighter, right? So, but we talked about that vibe of the different civilizations. So I have a great respect for the building of those civilizations differently. And that's where my level of respect for this game, I think, is really strong, even though it wasn't on my list. And it was included in that pub meeple that I did.
Yeah. By the way, there's I always have to highlight this fan-made Imperium scoring app, because the scoring in Imperium is ridiculous. There's like if you just saw right on there, there's one. It's just like 1 VP per yellow card. The thing is, you have like a deck. You could have a deck of like, I don't know, 40, 50 cards. So it can get to be a lot, because all the cards have like 1 VP per, or for every 3, you get different VP. So someone made an online app where you could just splay out your cards, take a picture, and it just does all the calculations for you, which is awesome. Talk about a time saver.
Yeah, really.
By the way, a big welcome. We've got Kyle in the house,
What?
Which I think is a good time to point out too, that we didn't include expansions on this year's list, because were a bunch of good expansions that I know we did play. But that's always a good reminder, because I don't think we pointed that out before. Like there was a variety of expansions that we could have considered, but we went with core base experiences for our list today.
Yeah. But if we did, I guess Vagrant Song expansions could have made the list. Which I haven't played yet.
You'd have a shot. We haven't played it. We don't know.
I got a big old box of Vagrant Song.
Do I still have my I got my ghosties not behind me.
I see it. I see your big box.
My box, but I had my ghosty.
Right.
Folder. With that, let's go to Anthony's number 4.
Anthony's number 4 is a small card game that, again, was very popular at PAX Unplugged, and it is now available in a smaller box. And that is the greatest card game of all time.
What?
Flip 7.
Oh my gosh. Why is it not number 7?
Greatest card game. Yeah.
Shouldn't that be number 1 if it's I guess if it's your number 1 card game list.
Yeah, I guess as long as the other ones are not card games. Boy, this is so high on the list because of the very low barrier of entry. You can play this with anybody. Okay. It is kind of like blackjack, which you can't play with anybody, but it's not, because you don't have to really worry about that much math in terms of in the moment deciding if you want to draw another card or not. Because in this game, it is basically a deck of cards where there's 1, 1, 2, 2s, 3, 3s, etc. And some of these other kind of fancier cards that do stuff. But essentially, when it's your turn, you're just going to flip over the top card of the deck, and decide if you want to stop or not. You're probably not going to stop right away. You're probably going to keep drawing cards. Yes, to it, Dan. No one that you've taught this to has not liked it. Over 20 people so far. It is such a simple concept. Do you want another card or not? Well, the catch is you can't get another card that's the same and then you bust. So what is it that's coming out? Well, don't forget there's 12 12s and you already have one. Your odds of getting another one are pretty high as opposed to if it was the 1 or a 2. But in addition to that, there's these cards that you can use to mess with people by either freezing them and they're set out of the round. Whatever they're stuck with is it. They can't draw any more cards. You can make someone draw more cards to try to get them to bust, or you can make yourself draw more cards to try to get more of them. Essentially, it's a race to, I think, 200 points, although you could probably lower that if you wanted to. But you're just going to score then with all the cards that you have, adding them all up in the set, and then if you have any things that give you, like, I don't know, any of those cards give you extra points for stuff. I forget if there's like a bonus. Is there a bonus for having one of each?
There's a bonus if you get 7 different ones.
7 different.
And then you get 15 plus points.
Right.
But good luck. If you push for that, you are going to be pushing your luck, especially if you've got 12, 10, and 11.
No, but this is just, hit me again. You sure? Yeah, hit me again. And there's a lot of, I can't believe, you got this card. It just hits, man. It just hits well.
Yeah, honestly, if I had played less games, this would have easily been on the list. And I
was wondering if it was going to be on your list.
Look, this one just has that greater depth of strategy to it for me that made it like just level up a little. But Flip 7 was in the top 20 for me.
Sure.
It's definitely a good party vibe kind of game,
Oh, definitely.
Get everyone pumped,
Definitely.
Make a spectacle of it, of just flipping cards.
But yeah, it plays well with a large group. I forget what it goes up to, but I think we played probably like 5 or 6 people, maybe even 7.
Yeah.
Was it play up to?
I've played this with as many as 9 people, and it works.
Oh, it plays up to 9. Yeah. Well, actually,
why?
BG says 3 to 99.
Yeah. But I'm saying I played it with 9, and it's. And you know what the thing is? There's so many games that I even say as I think of, and I think you guys can understand. I think of, but this isn't that challenging, right? And then I put it on the table with someone, and they're like, "We will. What does that do?" Or this is one of those ones that board gamer, casual, or really heavy into it. Everyone's enjoyed it. To kind of what
you
Dan was
can
saying
teach
before.
while you play, right? You can just start the game. Like, here's a card. Well, if you get another one of that same one, your turn's over. So do you want to draw another card or not? That's it. That's a decision. Play the game.
Yeah. Rules say up to 15 on one box is what Dr. J is saying.
18, that says.
Oh yeah, 18. And then Dan pointed out, even people that say they don't like games will like this.
Yeah.
That's true. That's incredibly true.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Good point.
For sure.
Right. Ryan, you're number 4.
Okay. All right. My number 4 is what do I want to say. I'll tell you this. So it's not exactly a coin game, but it's very much close to a coin game. It's like a coin light game, but it's probably my favorite of the coin games I've played.
Even though it's not a coin game.
Even though it's not a coin game. I know they're sticklers. They're sticklers. Okay.
I know.
But when it's time to play a coin game, I would play nothing else but just a Robin Hood right now. Because let me tell you, this game is solid. Designed by Fred Serval. It is a 2-player game where one player is Robin Hood and the other is the Sheriff of Nottingham. And what you're trying to do is just get, when it's time to score points, you want to have the point value tracker on your side of this tug of war kind of like, scoring system. So if it's on your side, if it's in the 5, 6, 7, you win the game. otherwise the game keeps going until it's time to do scoring again. What's going to happen though is that Robin and his merry men will be going out into Sherwood Forest or different parts of England, right? And they'll be trying to get the most points by doing all sorts of different tasks, such as jumping in and stealing from a carriage that the Sheriff of Nottingham has put out, like, and pillaging like some village, Meanwhile, while that's going on, that carriage could very well have like guards that come out and fight Robin. It's an incredible time. It really does a great job of getting that theme across and just feeling like there's a lot of agony in choices, because if you take a very powerful turn, it's very likely you're screwing yourself for the next turn because you're making it easier for your opponent to flip-flop and be in a much more powerful position. So yeah, I am really I really was smitten with a Just a Robin Hood, and I would like to play it again, like right now. That'd be good.
What would you say if I was also smitten with the
well, I put this list together, so I know
yeah,
you're
number 3. My list is done technically at this point.
Wow.
Look, Just a Robin Hood. First and foremost, the theme. I one of the games that I had a copy of was Robin Hood and Merry Men, which was like this co-op game. And it just didn't flesh out for me as a game that I loved. And I've wanted a Robin Hood game. This came out. Now I had that introduction to Coin through Cuba Libre. And mind you, heck of an introduction when Rodney Smith is teaching you a game, right? But nonetheless, that was my introduction to the Coin system as a general whole. Now, as you've said, Coin Light, and that's fair. I will still call this an adaptation of the Coin system, right? But the bottom line is that tug of war with that red royal favor token on that Justice Order track is phenomenal. The choice of events, and man, that'd be really good. But do I want to not be in a good position next turn? And you didn't get too much into this, but like it feels when you're playing as the Sheriff of Nottingham, man, you feel good up front.
Oh, you feel very snide, like snide and sniveling and just like,
oh yeah,
I'm gonna mess with this Robin guy.
Yeah, but man, Robin is because the thing is, there are consequences to every action, and if you make some areas submissive, it's not all pros, right? And vice versa. And where is Robin Hood? You don't always know where Robin Hood is,
Right.
and because the pieces flip over, and you'll reveal
the pieces flip over, and they'll either have an RH if it's Robin Hood or a feather if it's just a Merry Man.
Yeah. So decisions, and then the robbing, and then you're even going to push your luck when you're Robin Hood and the Merry Men, and you want to potentially rob a wagon. So, and I agree. This one is getting better. I think for people with consecutive plays, you keep playing this. It's delightful. And the most uncoin-like thing about this is the way it looks, because it's freaking beautiful. And every other coin, I'm not insulting coin games, but they're designed to be functional. Most of the coin games that I've seen. This is functional and gorgeous at the same time. This.
Oh, you're saying functional because the art is bad. Yes, I understand. I know what you mean now. Yes,
it's they're designed. But look, let's just say they're not aesthetically.
Yeah, GMT Games is known for not good art. So.
It's fine. But and that's nothing to say. I had a great time when I played Cuba Libre, and I would play Cuba Libre again. Just ideally not at a conference, at a con, because I'd rather play it when there's other things could be tried. But this
just
one,
the Robin Hood does such a great job of translating that theme into that system.
But it doesn't play super. It doesn't. You can play the game in a fairly effective amount of time comparatively too, because it is like 45 to 90 minutes, what BGG says. But I feel like you could do that, especially once you know the game. You can play this game in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's great. So yeah, no, this one's fantastic. Fred Serval with the design on this one. Artist Robert Altbauer, Terry Lees, and Chechu Nitu. If I have that correct. Yeah, this is a gem. And I own a copy of it now, and I'm so thrilled by that.
Yeah.
So because I just got a belated Christmas present the other day. It was very belated, but it was this, and fantastic surprise nonetheless.
Good choice.
Very nice. All right, on to my number 3. Number 3 is a duo version of a popular franchise of games. I forget which game you were talking about before, Ryan. You were talking about a tug of war of some sort. And what was it?
Robin Hood was a tug of war.
Oh, is that what you? Oh, really? I thought it was earlier.
yeah.
Anyway, point of it is King of Tokyo Duel, where you are taking on the role of one of those famed monsters that you might be familiar with from other King of Tokyo games. This one is a 2-player only version, and it is essentially a tug of war where there's multiple paths to victory. The board has these 2 tracks on it. It's like fame and destruction, I think. And so you'll be rolling dice Yahtzee style on your turn. And if you get 3 symbols of one of those 2 tracks, you can move that marker 1 space towards your end of the board. You can win by getting one of those 2 tracks all the way to your side, or getting both of them to what they call the spotlight section of your side of the board, which is a sort of a group of 3 spots. And the third way you can win is old-fashioned style by just eliminating your opponent by bringing them down to 0 health. So, again, if you have played any of the King of Tokyo stuff, you'll be familiar with the way that the game works. You roll some dice, you have 2 rerolls, and you have to then resolve what you have. So the symbols on the dice are, again, either one of those 2 tracks, fame or destruction. There's the attack claw thing, which is from the other games as well, as is the hearts for healing and the energy lightning bolt energy cubes, which let you buy upgrades. One of the things that I felt was not a highlight of original King of Tokyo was you didn't really always go through a lot of those cards. Sometimes they didn't get bought at all. This game does a really good job of changing that for a couple of reasons. One, if you don't buy anything at the end of your turn, you automatically get an energy cube. So you're always getting like $1, basically. And the other thing is there's 3 cards up for sale, and one of them is at a discount of 1. Also, if you want, you can pay 2 cubes to wipe all 3 of those cards and reveal 3 new ones. So there's lots of, you're going to see more cards, and you're probably going to buy more that let you do different things. Some of them are one-time abilities. Some of them are, for the whole game. Each monster has a special ability as well, which is the one other die face that I didn't mention yet. It's an exclamation point, and every monster has a different way that they utilize that exclamation point, either by making it copy another symbol or all kinds of stuff. There's so many cool things about this. I've played games of this that are 5 minutes, and I've played games that were like 25 minutes. You never know what's going to happen, and you could be going for one strategy, and something happens. You get a card that all of a sudden makes your attacks better or something like that, or gives you extra dice. You can get extra dice to roll as well. And now all of a sudden you're just looking to to pound your opponent into the ground because you scored a whole buttload of attacks last roll. Yes, Marcel, another thing that's really cool about this is there's achievements. It's funny, the game comes with this sticker sheet that I had no idea what it was for. Only to discover later on the side of the box, there's these achievements that you can then stick that sticker on to show that you've done that thing. And BGA actually keeps track of this for you when you play online, which is really cool. And there are things like, meet 2 win conditions at the same time, or get X amount of power up cards, or not lose any health or stuff like that. And yeah, I've enjoyed every play of this game. The swings are crazy, and it has a great tug of war feel to it.
Cool.
Yeah, the dual games are certainly flying out there in this, especially it feels like the past quarter. But this one delivered for me, and if you want to talk about a great battler, this is a great tug of war game for sure. And I will note, it's funny because the first time I played this was on Board Game Arena, and it's a great example of why it's great that we have access to stuff digitally, but man, the colors clash so much on a digital version.
Yeah,
But
it's a very loud board.
But that doesn't happen when you play the physical version, and that's what I found really interesting. And yeah, I like this a lot. I like that all the monsters have clear strengths, and I'm looking forward to the unavoidable addition of more monsters for this game.
Yeah, probably. One more thing I forgot to mention, actually, some of the cards that you buy also allow you to add these tokens to spaces on the track that will do different things depending on what's on them. Some of them have additional die face symbols on them, like a heal or an energy cube or things like that. But some of them, the way they're shaped, they actually can shorten your track for you by lowering the number of spaces. And conversely, there's ones that have an extra space to them that you could put on your opponent's side, making it harder for them to advance on that track. And then if a card comes out in the future that also has the same symbol on it and you buy that, you can move that marker somewhere else. Keep in mind that the symbols can't be on there. The movers can't be on there to move them.
So how is this compared to actual King of Tokyo?
I mean, in terms of if you're going to play 2 players, I don't see a reason to play King of Tokyo or King of New York with only 2 players if you have this game. I think King of Tokyo is still a really good game. I think it shines at like maybe 3 players. 4, it does start to kind of drag a little bit because you can wait a little while for your turn to come around. But with 3, it's kind of like that triple threat match in wrestling where, someone gets kind of like knocked to the side for a good few minutes while the other 2 can kind of fight it out. And you're really fighting to, can you last in Tokyo and keep taking damage to not be able to heal? Whereas this, you can kind of heal, you can do damage, you can pull the thing back and forth. So I think there's more going on in this game. I think it has more depth to it, honestly, as a game overall.
Yeah,
I agree with Andrew too. This is a better version for me because there's the multiple paths to victory, and I think it really shines. And I never got really into King of Tokyo. I had jumped right into King New York, which has a few more things going on.
Yeah.
But I even would say if someone said you want to play a King of anything game, I'd probably jump to Duel. In most cases, provided we weren't talking about a bunch of people wanting to play.
Yeah, I kind of almost bought this, I don't want to say on a whim, but I was looking for something to get for my son at PAX Unplugged. And he had really enjoyed our plays of King of Tokyo so far. So I thought he might like this one. And he does. But I was surprised at how much I liked it, honestly. And it just shot up my list for sure.
And get ready for more duels, y'all, because like there's even Furnace Duel coming, which I'm excited about. Like it's like the duel trend it's not over.
Yeah. All right, that's King of Tokyo Duel.
My number 3.
All right, I'll jump into my number 2. So my number 2 is a standalone, expand-alone sequel to another deck builder game. It's not Imperium Horizons this time, though. This game was, I believe, on Danielle's top 20 maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was also effectively a sequel to another original game. So this game is called Astronauts Eternity. This is designed by Sidney Engelstein, Nick Little, and Will Sobel. Came out in 2024. So what we got here is a cooperative deck building game that was started out in Aeon's End, then goes to Astronauts, now Astronauts Eternity. What Eternity does, though, is it takes the Astronauts mechanics, which are the same as Aeon's End, where you have a discard pile. It's a deck builder where the discard pile you never shuffle. So when it's time to draw cards, you just flip your discard pile back forward. So determining what you should play is very important because that's how it's going to come back out. So what this does, though, is it takes that, it adds a little campaign to it so you can unlock specific things. And then it also has in the discard piles, you'll see like on that Dark Matter core card over there, there's like a little banner on the left. So those banners are effects that happen if that card is in your discard pile. So you can have multiple actions going on if specific cards are in your discard pile. Not only that, but it's completely modular. It works with the base Astronauts, both the heroes and the bad guys. And it shows you on the back like difficulty levels you can do and stuff. Overall, I've been having a great time with it. Like it's such a clean system. It's such a great just cooperative deck builder that, you know, I just have a great time with it. And that's pretty much where I stand with Astronauts Eternity. I just play it. It's a good
Is that your advice for Andrew? Just go check it out.
Yeah, honestly, go check it out. If you like deck builders that are co-op, well, look, if you like deck builders, period, check it out. If you like co-op games, check it out. If you like both, definitely check it out. You know, it does everything so well. Because I remember, you know, when years ago we played the G.I. Joe deck building game, how much fun we had in a cooperative deck building sense. This does it so much cleaner. And even compared to Aeon's End, which is like the fantasy themed version, is the sci-fi version. It takes a lot from Aeon's End and just really strips it down and makes it super clean and just quick to get to the table, quick to randomize and decide what you want to do, and then quick to play. So yeah, I highly recommend playing Astronauts Eternity. Great game.
And
Sound
so
cool.
we have one left, do we not?
We do. It's number 2.
Bring it home.
Bring it home. Well, this is a game that was on my top 20 as well, and talked about it a lot there. So I'm not gonna beat it to death, but I will take any opportunity to talk about cheese, and that's because my number 2 is fromage.
Ooh,
There it is.
The cheesy turntable lazy Susan experience where you are essentially cheesemakers and you are kind of battling in these 4 different mini games around the board where on your turn, well, everyone plays simultaneously, but only one of those quadrants is facing you. So that's where you're playing. And then when everyone's done, you rotate it 1/4 turn and see what's going on in this next section. Many different ways to score points. But essentially, you're going to be placing cheese into cheese wedges into these different spots on the board to either score points by making, different pairs of things on the bistro thing, by getting in the tables, going over to the map area, the village, where you're trying to get sort of an area control thing by gaining points. Then there's the festival, which is kind of like just a grid where you're trying to get as many of your wedges connected adjacency as possible to get the most points. And then in a cheese shop where you're going to display some cheeses on different shelves that'll get you different abilities. It is a tight game, though. And again, I kind of mentioned this, I think, when I was talking about harmonies, and the same thing can kind of happen here because the game is going to be over immediately when someone plays their last cheese wedge. And so you only have a limited number of those. So that end of game can kind of sneak up on you if you're not careful, and you might be stuck with, a few wedges of cheese that you really didn't get to do anything with. On your turn, you're going to place one worker either in that quadrant that we were talking about, or at the very top of it, you'll see at the intersection where they all meet, there's a little section, a triangle section that has spots for your worker as well. That's how you would collect resources. So you're either getting fruit, livestock, wood to make buildings, or order cards to make certain cheeses to get points as well. You really want to decide how you want to maximize your workers there, because some of the spots are really, really good, but the really, really good ones are going to cost you time, because depending on which way that worker's facing will determine how many turns of the wheel it is until that worker comes back to you. So you really want to, plan out your actions as much as you can, and not get stuck with a situation where the board rotates to you and you don't have any workers to do anything that turn, which kind of stinks. But boy, point salad, different structures do different things. You can play the advanced mode where you draft different structures that replace some of the ones that are on your starting board. Everyone's going to start with something different, maybe some fruit, maybe some livestock. The livestock helps you make extra different kinds of cheeses. The fruit lets you make these cool fruity cheeses and jams that are going to multiply to get you points. There's just so much going on here. Andrew says that his only complaint is that the game doesn't go long enough. I want a full hour of cheese making. Well, listen, you can go ahead and check out the Kickstarter. Oh, it's probably over by now. For Fromagerie. Formaggio, sorry, which will be a standalone expansion where you can play it by itself, or you can shove in these different sheets to basically change those quadrants. I think that'll breathe some more life into this game, where you can switch up what's going on around each of the the four kind of mini games.
It is very pleasant, It's got it has like such an air to it,
it has a presence to it. It has an aura. It's just a beautiful,
like production. You see on the table, you get it. It's just this is the cheese making game.
This is the cheese.
Which one's the cheese? Oh, it's the one that looks like a big cheese wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like there's no confusion there. That is the cheese game.
So we talk about being smitten with games, and this is one that I kind of fell in love with, and I taught it to a couple of friends of mine, I don't know, back in February, and my one buddy Steve was just like, yeah, he's like, I get it, I love it too. He's like, you sure you don't want to give it to me? I was like, no, I'm good.
Did you eat cheese with it? Yeah.
Well, I don't think we had any cheese that day with it, actually.
No, have you? Because we did that before, and it was great. It was.
Well, you did that at PAX, right?
We did it at PAX.
Yeah,
cheese party.
A cheese party. There was fromage going on. It was good times.
I have to imagine that the fromage will be a staple with the cheese party.
Oh, probably.
I mean, I know you don't run the cheese party, but I have to imagine this will just be there, and they'll just expand with the other games. I am yet to actually play the actual physical version. I've got to watch you guys play it, but I've yet to play it because I was like 5 minutes late. I was running for that. I don't know, but I need to play it. I really do like this. I really have enjoyed. I had a chance to play it online. I liked it. I need to play it in person. The presentation of it, though, holy crap, it's gorgeous. That's all I can say.
It's tough to get, it's tough to design things that are innovative these days with games. And I don't know any other game, and I'm sure someone can correct me, but this concept of competing in different challenges one at a time and then rotating the board, I've never seen anything like it. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
And the mini games are so like, they're basic, like they're very just straightforward. Like here, this is how you score points. This is how you score points.
Yeah.
I think because it's just in that gimmick. I'm not saying gimmick is a bad thing, by the way. It's in that it's in that whole vibe where it works because it is so simple that doing little by little by little by little, it works out in the game's favor.
Yeah, the theme is definitely there, and I'm quite excited to see the new boards.
Yeah.
So when we look at our board now, Ryan,
bring up the board.
We have looked at.
Who's
We've
saying
got a
it's
bunch
in
of
there?
crossovers. Anthony and I
Yeah.
share our number 1 and our number 5, which is crazy. Definitely a
Zoom out all
decent
the way.
amount of card games are
That's too
in
much
here.
zoom. That's too much zoom.
Too much zoom. There we go. I want to just point out though, a bunch of different card games are in here. We got Naishi as a crossover, Cities as a crossover.
Slay the Spire was a crossover.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to me because our top 20, if anyone has not watched yet, are all very, very different. But when we break it down to 1 year, we had a lot of crossover. If you guys don't mind, I want to point out, I did not get to play, and you both know this. We didn't get to play SETI. It's been cursed. We have not been able to make this game happen. So SETI didn't happen. I didn't get
That's this year's Rear Window.
Yeah. I didn't get Rock Hard 1977 in, which I really wanted to get in. And there was a game I played, but I only played it against myself, simulating all the turns, so I did not count it. But I think it would have been on the list, and I wanted to show it, and that's Kelp. 2-player octopus versus shark, bag building versus deck building. I think it would have cracked the top 10, quite frankly, but I did not feel it was right because I had to kind of play against myself, and it didn't seem right. So kept it off the list, but I wanted to mention Kelp because I thought the design was really interesting to me, and I enjoyed it.
I was surprised that Let's Go to Japan wasn't on your list.
No, I like Let's Go to Japan, but it was absolutely
on yours list either. That's true.
Let's Go to Japan was like in the top 40 maybe, but it didn't get too close to cracking the top 10 for me. Yeah, I liked Let's Go to Japan, and again, I liked Flip 7. The card game Odin nearly made my list, which I really liked. I would, and so again, there was there were so many good. Again, there was a lot of good games.
Year.
It was a really good year for games.
The ones that I wish I had played. I wish I tried Arcs.
Sure. Yeah, that would have been good to get to the table.
By the way, I'm surprised Wormspan didn't make your guys' list.
I still haven't played Wormspan.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It was on my list of things I wanted to try to get played, but just didn't happen.
I like Wormspan, but Wormspan still suffers from the same thing for me that Wingspan suffers from, which is I just think it plays a little too long than it needs to. But that's just me. But I liked it a lot.
War of Arrakis was another one I would have liked to play. I heard a lot of good things about that one. And then the other one was Bomb Busters.
Oh, I wanted to play that.
Yeah.
I was adjacent to it.
Yeah.
Eddie's not in the chat right now, but Eddie was playing it at an event, and I was like, oh man, I wanted to play that. And I was playing Wingspan at the time, and I would have rather been playing more, but nothing against Wingspan. I just really wanted to play that game. So yeah. Awesome. And I will be putting out a video just so people know for a Creators Corner next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. So we do have Creators Corner coming up, and then towards the end of the month we may be rescheduling for a night other than Wednesday for our call aboard to end the month. So we'll make sure people are aware of that in advance. Marcel, by the way, pointing out that I think Architects of Aeneas will hit live for you too. Yeah, I have enjoyed that one. I have enjoyed that one a lot online. That's what's happening here. We will be back into the regular schedule of call aboards and creator corners and all that. So stay tuned. And if there's any topics you want to see us cover, let us know and join the Discord. Link is in the show description. I'll make sure it's up to date after. But yeah, that's it. I want to thank everyone for coming aboard the Tabletop Express. You guys got anything to add? All right.
Go eat some cheese.
Ready.
Bye, all.
Bye.